In this tutorial, you'll learn how to add your brand fonts to your website using text images. The main reason to use text images to add fonts to your site is because many times the theme you're using or even font plugins may not necessarily contain your specific brand font. So if you have gone through and already found a font that you feel specifically represents your brand, you may not find that font specifically in your themes font selection or even some plugin fonts, plugins that add more fonts to your site. So in that case, if you actually want your site to and your pages to look exactly the way you want them to with your brand fonts, using text images will ensure that everything looks perfect and actually is depicting your brand fonts on your site. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do here is you'll see that I am on an about page that I've put together. If you see here, the about is highlighted here showing that we are on the about page. This is just an example page on a test site that I've created. And you'll see here that there is some lorem ipsum text, which is just dummy text for the purposes of this example, just so that you can see what a full page looks like with text on it. And then we also have a picture of me here. So this is just a basic about page with a picture of the person and content here. So what we're going to do is add the page title with my brand font. Okay, so that means it's going to show up here because as you can see, it's looking kind of bland up here at the top. There's no actual page title. So we're going to put the page title with my brand font. We're also going to put some font right here in the middle of the text because let's say you have some text within a page and you want to spice it up and add a splash of color and a splash of a different font to really break things up and bring more personality to that page. So that's what we're going to do too. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is pull up Gimp on my computer. So Gimp is a free image editing software that you can just download to your computer and create any image you like, create or edit any image you'd like. Okay, so I'll definitely leave a link to that below so that you can use it. It's free and it's very simple to use. So what we're going to do is start with File, and I'm going to select New. And what I'm going to do is change the width to 900. And I'm using 900 as the width because that's the basic width of any website page. So if we were to go back to that about page, right? The width of the page shows by the content, where the content starts and stops on the sides there, okay? Not the width of the whole site, which will go all the way over to the end of the browser, but the width of where the content stops and starts. You'll see that that's the width of the page. So anytime you want an image to span the width of a page, 900 is the basic width that you would want to go with, okay? So I'm also going to make the height of this 100 just because I know this is just text. It's not going to be some large, tall image. It's just text, so it's going to be pretty short. So I'm also going to go to advanced options here. And under fill width, you'll see it says background color. I'm going to change that to transparency. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I know that I want my page title to have a background color or image. And so in order for my text to show the background color that's going to be behind it and not actually come up with a block of white around it, I want to make sure that the text that I'm creating shows well on top of the background color that I'm going to be putting on it inside of my website. Okay, so that's why I'm making this transparent. Okay, so I'm going to select OK here, and here is my canvas that I'm starting with. Okay, so you'll see that these checkered boxes here means that the background is transparent. It does not have any color, and anything that I put behind it will show through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first select the A here, which is the text tool. You'll see that it shows exactly what it is when you scroll over it. So I'm going to select the text tool, and then I'm going to come down here and you see the font. It tells me what font. This is obviously their default font. So I'm just going to select this font icon here, and it'll give me all of the fonts that are not only within the Gimp software, but also any fonts that I have downloaded to my computer. So if I've gone and I've found, my brand fonts and I've downloaded them to my computer, they will now be shown in this collection of fonts here. Okay, so I'm going to pick my brand font from this selection, and I want it, instead of just tangerine, I want it to be tangerine bold. And let's say, because size 18 was a little bit small, so I'm just going up a little here. Let's say 50. Let's see what that looks like. I also want to change the color. So you see the color here. You see everything is pretty much labeled and very simple for you to find here. So the color is black. I'm going to change it to white because I know I want it to stand out white on top of the background that I put it on my site. So I'm just going to start typing here inside of this box. And I'm going to put about Alexis. Now you'll see that that's still pretty small. So let's just make it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to come over here and let's just double it in size and make it 100. And then I'm going to move it up. I'm sorry, this is the move tool, okay? It has the arrows on it, and that's the move tool. So anytime you want to move whatever you're working in, you'll definitely want to select this one. And then what I'm going to do is select move the active layer, okay? And then this way I can just easily move this. Now, if you wanted this centered, you could just center it this way. But I know that I want mine to be over to the left. So I'm putting it over here. And I also want to point out, I'm just going to click on background over here. These are the layers. So basically anything I add to this image will show up here. So far we have the background and we have about Alexis. Okay, so these are always the layers are shown in this section here. So I'm just going to click on background just so that we can get rid of this box so you can see what the whole image looks like. So you'll see that there's a little bit of space here below here, and there's not much space there, but there's definitely some space here. And because this is a text image, you always want to take out any extra space above or below the text, because once you've inserted it into your site, you don't want extra space to mess up the design of your site. You want it to look like it's just the text and no extra space just because it's in an image, okay? So what I'm going to do is go up to image, and I'm going to select scale image, and I'm going to unlock this. The fact that it's locked means that if I were to change the width, the height would automatically change with it, right? But I don't actually want that because I want it to stay 900, but I do want to change the height. So I'm going to take this down to about 80, just because I kind of know that that's where I want it to go. But if you were doing this and you don't really know, you can always just test things out. You can start with just taking it down to 90, see where it goes, and then come back and change it again till you get it right to the perfect height that you want it to be. So just for the purposes of this video and not taking up too much time, I'm going to go ahead and select 80, and then I'm just going to hit scale. And now you see it looks a little bit fuzzy and it's gotten a little bit distorted, but not to worry. I'm just going to go back and select the About Alexis. I'm also going to go back to the text tool, just click on that, and then click on this box. And you'll see it automatically allows me to edit it, letting me know that it's been changed, okay? So I'm just going to select edit, and it automatically snaps back to exactly where it should be. I'm just going to take this move tool and move it up slightly, and it's perfect. So there's no extra space. It's sitting exactly where I want it to sit. So now we're good to go. So what I'm going to do is hit File, and then I'm going to select Save. And I'm going to add this to my example items. So I'm just going to call this example page title. I'll say about page title. And I'm going to select save. Now, when you hit save, this actually saves it as a GIMP image, which is not actually an image that you can upload to your site because it's in the GIMP file format. File formats of images that you can upload to your site are like JPEG or JPG or PNG. Those are the main ones. So in order to do that, we're going to go to File. After you've saved it as a GIMP file, it's important to save it as a GIMP file as well as a file that you can upload it to your website, and we'll go over why in just a few minutes. But let's go over to File and then hit Export to. So after you've saved it and named it, right, then we're just going to go and hit Export, actually, not Export to, but just Export. And you'll see here that the title already comes up and it's already at PNG. That's the default file format for GIMP. Okay, it's automatically going to come up as PNG, which is great for us because we don't have any extra steps. And what I want to say is anytime that you have a transparent background, PNG is the file format that you want to select. If you select JPG or JPEG, your background will not stay transparent. It will come up as white. So in order for it to stay transparent, you definitely want to select PNG. But if you do want to change the file extension, you would just come down here to File Extension and click on that. And then you'll have all of these file extensions to come from, and you can select JPEG there. But we're not going to do that this time. We're going to keep it on PNG, and we're going to just select Export. Okay? And then we're just going to hit Export again. And now we have our image. It has been saved to the folder I told it to go to, okay? So now let's go back to our page and let's insert it into our page. So here is our About page. I just went to Pages, All Pages, and selected my About page from the list of pages that I had. And you'll see here that I'm actually using Divi as my theme. You'll see the Divi builder here. So the way that I'll be inserting this is through Divi, okay? In case you're using another theme, you'll get to see the awesomeness of Divi. If you're using Divi, then you'll see exactly how to do this. So you'll see that all I have on this page is a text module. There's one section here, one row, one column in that row, and there's one text module here that has this image with the text next to it, okay? But what I want to do is add a section up here that has its own color, and that's where I'm going to put the title that we've just created, the page title that we've just created. So I'm going to create a new section here because I want this section to have its own background color, so that's why I'm creating a new section. Otherwise, I could have just created a new row or a new module, but I definitely want to create a new section here. So I'm just going to click on this, and this allows me to select how many columns I want, either one that stretches all the way across or multiple, but I'm just going to select one here. And you'll see that my new section is down here. So I'm just going to move it up so that it's above and it's the first thing that we see. So what I'm going to do is go to the section settings by clicking on these three little lines here. And you'll see that I have the option to add a background image, transparent background color, or background color. So I'm going to select background color. Scroll down a little bit just so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to type in here my brand blue. You can do that if you have your own brand colors. You can most certainly put that in here, or you can just select any color from this rainbow of colors here. So I'm going to hit save and exit. And now I'm going to add my text image. So I'm going to insert module, and I'm going to scroll down until I see image. And I'm going to upload, not from my media library, but actually I'm going to click on upload files from my desktop, the image that I just created. So that it was the example about page title. And this is how you know it's a GIMP image. And then this, if you just, scroll over, you should be able to see that this is the PNG file, and that's the one we want. So I'm just going to select open here, and I'm going to set as image. And then I'm going to scroll down just to make sure that you always want to scroll down when you upload an image to an image module to make sure that all of the settings are what you want for the image that you're uploading. Okay, so if you were going to add a link to this image, you would do that here, and all of this. So here's the animation. And I'm actually going to take that off because I don't want this to move. If I were to leave this here, it would actually move from left to right when the page loads. But I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to take that off and I'm going to select no animation. And then I'm also going to come down here. Here's where you would select the image alignment. If you wanted it centered, you could do that, or to the right, but I actually want mine to the left. And then also the admin label. This helps you to identify what's going on the back end so that you know that it's not just an image in case you have more than one image. You want to know which image it is. So I'm going to put about page title. Okay, save and exit. And now we see it says about page title and the text. So let's preview it and see how it looks. It's taking a little bit of time here. Please excuse my computer. Okay, here we go. There we go. So now we have my brand font and my brand color on my about page. And actually this space is kind of tall for this text here. So I actually want to shorten this space. So what I'm going to do is go back to edit page, and I'm going to go back to the section settings, and I'm going to scroll down until I get to custom padding. So padding is really like what it sounds like. It's like insulation in a wall. So, but it's padding for any container that it's in. So it's like the inside padding for any container that it's in. So anytime you want to make a container smaller in Divi, you always want to look for the custom padding here. So for this, I really want the top and the bottom to become shorter so that it's not so tall. So I'm just going to select 10px. I'm just picking this number. You can, guess at numbers that you want. You can just pick a number that you think would work, and then come and then look at it, see if that looks like what you want, and then come back and adjust. Okay, so I'm just going to select 10px, and let's preview those changes. And that looks much better. I think that spacing is perfectly fine. You can make it even more narrow if you want, but for me, that looks great. So let's also just experiment with using a background image as well, because the Divi is so awesome that you can use a background color or a background image. So I'm actually going to clear this color, and I'm going to upload an image, and I'm actually going to use one that I've already uploaded here, and I'm going to set that image as the background. And I'm going to hit preview changes again so we can see what it looks like. And that actually looks really beautiful. I really love that. It adds more dimension to it and shows my personality as well. As you can see, I love flowers. So yeah, I like that. We're going to keep that. So I'm going to go down here, and what I want to do, let's say up here, I talked about my professional life because this is my about page. And then down here in these last two paragraphs, let's say I want to talk about my personal life. Okay. So the good thing about saving, we're going to go back to Gimp here. The good thing about saving your Gimp image, saving it as a Gimp image as well as the PNG or the JPEG, is that what happens is you create a template for yourself. So now that I have this created, I can just go back to the folder where I saved this and just open this up, and it'll open up exactly like this. And this is just like a template. I already have the dimensions that I want. I already have the size of the text that I want. You know, anything that I need to change, like the name of this, instead of about Alexis, I'm going to put, you know, a different name. And let's just give you an example of this. Let's say you want to add a page title to every single one of these pages that you have, no matter how many pages you have. So let's say maybe you want to change out the image here, but you want it all to look exactly the same. You could use your template you've created here by just changing, instead of about Alexis, say services. You know, instead of services, say blog here. And you already have your GIMP image with all of your dimensions and everything in place. All you have to do is change, you know, maybe even the color or just the name of your text image. So that's how you really make it easy for yourself once you've gone through and determined, you know, the dimensions you want and all of that. You can really make it easy for yourself by saving it as the GIMP image, so that you can edit it and change it anytime you want. Okay, so for this, I'm actually going to use it as the mid-page font that we're going to put. And it's just going to be like a, I'm sorry, I need to select the About Alexis layer there. And then we can alter this. So I'm going to change this to my personal life, whatever you may want to add there to just kind of create a page divider, a section divider with your fonts. So as you can see, this is cut off a little bit because of the size of the text, the font. So what I'm going to do is just go back up to the image, and I'm going to scale it back to 100. So you can see at least you have a little starting point of where to go, because we started with 100. So we're just going to go back to that. So it still makes it pretty easy in adjusting, right? So we've scaled it, and now I'm just going to click in because we've already made sure that we've clicked there. I'm just going to click inside this box. We're going to get this edit message again. Just click edit, and it snaps it back to exactly how it's supposed to be, right? So then I'm just going to click this move tool again, and then I'm going to move it up so that it's perfectly inside of the box and nothing's being cut off. So that's like perfect amount of space there for all of the extremities, you know, within this font and everything. So now I'm just going to go back up here, and actually before I do that, I'm going to hit my personal life again. I'm going to go back to the text tool, click inside of this box, and I'm going to select color because I actually want to add, I don't want it to be white because remember the background of that page is white. I'm going to add my brand color. Now this is here because I use it all the time, but if it wasn't, all I would have to do is simply type in the hex code of my brand color right into this box, and it would automatically show up. Okay, so I'm just going to select OK, and now it has turned my font into my brand blue. So that looks perfect. And actually, I also want to center it. So what I'm going to do is pull this. You see that that's where the box was, right? And I just moved my mouse over to this area here, and you see the little arrow showed up, and that shows me that I can pull this box all the way over to the end of this image. image so that I know that this text box is actually filling the entire length of this image. And so what I'm going to do is come down here to justify, and you can see that it's already left justified. This is right justified, and then I'm going to select center. And then you'll know that your image is centered in the middle of this image. Your font, I'm sorry, is centered in the middle of this image just by stretching it out so that it fits the entire image and then selecting center. Okay, so now my image is perfect. I'm going to go to File and Save As, because remember before it was the About page image, right? But we've changed that. So we don't want to lose that About page GIMP image, but we want to create a new GIMP image for this new image we've created. So we're going to select Save As, and we need to rename it. So this is going to be my personal life, and I'm just going to add a 1 there. So we're going to hit save, and we're going to export it as well. Now, we do not need to save this as a PNG, and sometimes saving as PNG can add more space to the file. You know, it matters like how big your file is when you're uploading it to your site. So you can add it as a PNG. It won't harm anything. But if you just want to be on the safer side, and because we don't need this to be a PNG, because we don't actually need it to be transparent anymore, because it's just going to go against the white background of that page, I'm going to go ahead and select these extensions here and change it to JPEG. And then I'm going to export. And always with JPEG, they give you the option, always just take it up to 100 in quality. And then export again. And now we have our JPEG image, and it's been saved to the folder that I asked it to save to. So now let's go back to our page. We have our header with our brand font there. We have the picture of the person. We have content. And now let's break up this content with even more color and font personality. So let's go back to our edit page, and let's go inside of this text module. Okay, those are the settings of that text module. And I'm going to scroll down, and you can see where I've inserted this image next to the text. And let's go down to the last 2 paragraphs. So what I'm going to do is put my cursor where I want the image to show up. So since these are the last 2 paragraphs, I'm going to put my cursor here and then just hit enter. Okay, and that's where I want the actual image to show up. So then I'm going to scroll back up until I see add media. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to upload my image that I just created. Example, here it is. So there it is, and here we have the option to center it or left or right. I'm going to center it because I definitely want it centered in the middle of that content. And also you want to make sure that you always have it linked to none. When you're using text images, you don't really want those images to be functional. You know, images with links to them are functional. And you don't want to confuse people with, you know, if they happen to scroll over top of, you know, your text image and they see that it's clickable and then maybe it goes to like an attachment page for the image or something like that. That's totally irrelevant to what you're trying to do. You're only adding these text images for aesthetic purposes. So for that reason, you definitely want to make sure it's not linked to anything. And so that's why you would always select none instead of any of these other options here for the linking. And then with the size, I definitely want it to be full size instead of medium or thumbnail. So then I'm just going to insert into page. And then when we scroll down here, we can see that it's been added. So let's go look at it. Save and exit. And I'm going to just hit preview changes. And we have our header there. And now we have our text font, our text image showing our font. This is my brand font and my brand blue. And we have it right in the middle of our content there. So hopefully you enjoyed learning how easy it can be to really add your own look and feel to your site simply by adding your fonts with text images.